Hi team, welcome to my session on Network Security Foundation Masterclass 3, and thanks for sharing a great response on my class 1, class 2. In this video, we're going to discuss about protocols and everything, which is a very important benchmark for network security. My name is Prabh Nair. For more information, you can check my LinkedIn profile. And if you're new to the channel, do subscribe to the YouTube channel and click on the bell icon to make sure you should not miss my future videos on a similar topic. So without wasting a time, let's start with the first part. Thank you. So first part, we're going to discuss about the protocol. Now, question is, what is protocol? Protocol is a networking, and it's simply a set of agreed upon the rules and format the device used to talk to each other, much like how people follow the grammar and vocabulary rules in a language. Let's take an example. There is a person 1, there is a person 2, there is a person 3, and there is a person 4. He knows Spanish, he knows French, he knows English, he knows Hindi. Now they cannot speak in the local language, so they agree, let me speak in English. So English is a protocol. They set up the rule, okay guys, we'll use English, and through that English we can able to speak to everyone. Same like we have a system A. If A want to access the internet, we need to add the IP address. If you want to translate name to IP, we need to add the preferred DNS. So this is called a set of rule. So protocol is a networking, a simple set of rule that is used by the devices by which they can able to communicate over the network. Without protocol, we can't communicate over the network. That's something you need to understand. Now here what happen is, when you're talking about protocol, so when your computer speak to web server, they both follow the HTTP protocol. When you sending an email, they use SMTP. So for every services, we have a different protocols. Now the question is why they exist. The first reason is interoperability. So in the earliest days, every computer make it hard in its own way of sending a bits over the wire, and network could not grow until everyone agree on a common language. And this is where we had a layer design. So in 1970s, I repeat, in the 1970, okay, in the 1970, the researcher at DARPA, D-A-R-P-A, let me note down here, DARPA, DARPA, and international standard body like ISO, IEEE, they broken the communication into the layers. They think physical wiring, how the address machine, how to encrypt, how to present data. And each layer got its own protocol. And that is how the protocols concept came into the market. Okay. So when you're talking about the protocol history, this is a brief history. So what happened in 1960 to 70, we used to have a proprietary networks. How? The company like IBM, they have their own protocol. We have a DEC, they have their own. We have a Xerox. Okay, so they build their own local network protocol, like IBM has a SNA, Xerox has a Ethernet and all that. Then what happened late 1970s, we had a concept of the TCP IP development. Okay, so TCP IP is a protocol suite which is funded by the DARPA. Okay, so Mr. Vint Cerf and Mr. Bob Ken. So Vint Cerf and Bob Ken, they design a TCP and IP to connect the disparate network, and this is how the birth of internet works. And by early 1980s, these become a universal internet protocol. Then what happened in 1980s, 90s, there is a growth of standardization. So we had a IETF, Internet Engineering Task Force. We have a RFC, which is called as a request for comment, each specifying their new protocols like DNS, SMTP, HTTP. They were introduced in 1983, 1982, 1981. Then in 2000, we are introducing a security protocols to send the data. And this is how the protocol history came into the picture. Exactly. This is how the protocol history came into the picture. Now, protocols have a language, rules, ports, and they are communicating through the particular port number. See, in my previous video, we discussed we have a system A and we have a system B. A IP is 1.1.1, B IP is 1.1.2. So if A want to send data to B, he will send on 1.1.2. But the problem is that the different application, different protocol listen on their respective port number. So we have to give the port number. System A, this is the web server. Okay, so we're communicating on the port number 80 because HTTP is because we're using the word called HTTP. Now we have a network security guy or we have a security administrator. He want to remotely manage the server. So he will connect on 2022. So same server, the ports are different because we are using a different protocols. So every protocols use the port number through which they listen the conversations. Okay, so in my previous video, we discussed about IP address. It's just like a street address. The port number are the particular apartment door number, and protocol is a language which spoke inside that apartment. So we are using a port number 80, which is using HTTP server. We have a 443, which is a HTTPS. We have a port 125, we have a SMTP. So protocols are the negotiation rule and data format which everyone follow. And ports are the numbers or door on each device they communicate. Overall, we have a two type of protocols actually. One is called TCP and we have a UDP. TCP is basically like a connection oriented and reliable protocol. Thinking of sending a registered letter or making a phone calls. So when they do when they initiate the communication, they first do three-way handshake. Hi. So he send the hi. Server, if it's live, it will say, hello, I'm good, how are you? So he said, yes, I'm also good. So this is called as a three-way handshake. Without three-way handshake, we cannot send the data. And that is why it is called as a reliable protocol. But we have another protocol, which is a UDP protocol, user datagram protocol. It is a connectionless protocol. Okay, it's just like a postcard. You just give the address and deliver on that address. It doesn't matter in what state it deliver. That is why it is a connectionless. So when you open first time YouTube channel, when you open the YouTube page, that is happening on TCP. But when you start playing videos and all that, that is happening in the UDP. So TCP is slow but reliable. UDP is fast but unreliable. TCP ensure the data deliver in the same state, but UDP just ensure the data should deliver. In what state, it doesn't matter. So what happened is these protocols has been classified in their ports, which is defined by the INA. So they say well-known ports, which is system port. The range is 0 to 103, which is used by Microsoft also and Linux also, like 44380. So these ports host the foundational, universally recognized services. So your OS will only let privileged process behind there. Okay, like HTTP, HTTPS, SMTP. So it will use by Microsoft also, Linux also. Then we have a registered port. Some of the vendors have registered these ports. Like Microsoft for their services, they have registered some of the registered ports. So these are called as a vendor and application registered ports. Okay. And third is basically called as a dynamic port, which is basically created on a temporary basis. After understanding the overall protocol classifications and all that, we are jumping into the routing and routed protocols. So routing protocol are the one which creating a route. Routing protocol is the one which create a route. And routed protocol is the one which carry the data on the route. Okay. So when we say router, this is the router we have. Okay. So we have a router 1, we have a router 2, and we have a router 3. Router is a device which is used to communicate between the two different network. Okay. So they have IP like 1.1.1.1, 1.1.2, 2.1.1, 2.1.2. So these are the IPs we have. So if data need to be sent from one network to another network. So let's say example for router 1, you want to send data to router 2. For him, the router 2 is router 3 and router 2 is basically the gateway. So manually we create a route. Manually we create a route in the router. And that routing is called as a static routing. There's no protocol is working here. So manually we need to configure the route on the router 1. We need to dictate them what is the destination, what is a mask, what is a gateway. So manually we need to define the things. It is same like each driver has a paper map with the fixed route. If road gets close, they get stuck because map does not change. So that is called as a static routing, which is simple and used for the smaller network. But when you're working on the big networks and all that, there we basically use the second one, which is called as a dynamic routing protocols, where we're using a routing protocol to extend the route. So we have a router 1, and we have a router 2. So here what happened, we don't manually create a route. So there is a protocol is configure this side, here we configure that side. So they broadcast the route itself. So automatically it adjusts. It is same like you when you're using Google Map, it automatically based on a current live traffic provide you the right location. So manually you don't define anything. So router automatically exchange the information to build and maintain the routing table. So routed protocols like IP which deliver your application data, and routing protocols ensure your IP packet find the best loop-free path. Even if the link goes down or topology change, we can able to change the things. So we have a different type of routing protocols. So we have a RIP, we have a OSPF, we have a EIGRP, we have a ISIS, and we have a BGP. We have other protocols also, but in this we're talking about these basics only. So if you take example of RIP, routing information protocol, it's a very old, simple, use the hop count. So if you're looking for the small network, we use that. Now overall routing protocols are categorized into two parts. One is called as a distance vector, and one is basically called as a link state. I repeat again, one is called as a distance vector and one is called as a link state. So please understand this carefully. So in the distance vector, what happened is we shared the entire route with the neighbor router. So we have a router 1, we have a router 2, we have a router 3. So in the case of distance vector, we actually share the entire routing information with the router 1 and router 2. Is it clear? So it shared the entire routing table with the neighbor on a periodic basis. So how it happens is, like example, in this case, each driver will basically shoot out, hey guys, this is the new list of the IPs are there. There's a new list of network data is there. So please find the updated information. So on regular basis, it basically update the information. And that is basically called as a distance vector routing protocol. But in the case of link state routing protocol, we don't share the entire information. We only share the link state information. So each router build a complete map and run one specific algorithm. So it basically update that information only. It's same like whenever driver learn about a road or opening or closing, they broadcast just that a single update. So each driver then use all those updates to redraw the own full path. Is it clear? So summary is that when we're talking about distance vector, we update the entire information, but in the link state, we only update the recent information or the updated new information, which is basically there. Okay. So that is the thin line difference we have. Summary is that distance vector routing protocol periodically swap the entire routing table with the neighbors and learn the hop counts. Hop mean routers here, how many routers we have, and update accordingly. But in the link state, the router share only their local link information, which build the full network map, and it is independently compute shortest path. So RIP is the distance vector. Okay, maximum support hop is basically 15. It means we have a router 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 we have here. So maximum it can cover up to the 15 routers. So it's used for the short distance. Second is basically called as a OSPF. Now when we're talking about OSPF, what is the full form of OSPF? OSPF stand for Open Shortest Path Label. It is a link state protocol. It is an open protocol not owned by Cisco like EGRP. So it use a cost matrix, which is called as a bandwidth. So higher bandwidth, lower cost. So before OSPF, the older protocols like RIP was use a simple logic like hop count, number of router, and based on that pass the data, but it could not consider the speed and bandwidth. So OSPF came into the picture. It offered the quick reaction. It look for the better path decision, and it is capable for the bigger networks. Am I clear? So that something is basically there. So it use a SPF algorithm. So all routers share the roadmap with each other. They draw the each full city, and according to that, they look for the fastest route path and update the information. Then we introduce the next one, which is called as a EIGRP. EIGRP is the Advanced Distance Vector Protocol, which use the composite matrix of bandwidth, delay, and all that. So EIGRP stands for Enhanced Interior Gateway Routing Protocol. And it is a Cisco proprietary protocol developed by Cisco. And it has both distance vector link state feature. That's why it's called as a dual algorithm. Okay. So old product like RIP was slow and basics. Cisco created EIGRP, which fast convergence, alternative OSPF. and it giving a best competition to the EIGRP, best competition to the OSPF. Okay, so that something is there, and it considered some metrics like bandwidth, okay, delay, and next is called as a load. Load is optional, and reliability. Okay, so it consider the bandwidth, it consider delay, it basically consider load, it consider reliability, and based on that it transfer the data. So that's how it basically send that information. So it know multiple routes, it pick the fast and safest method and keep the backup route ready. Now next is basically called as a ISIS. So that is the another one we have. It's a link state protocol, and it is also called as a intermediate system to intermediate system. Okay, so it's a dynamic routing protocol. It moves data within a large network like ISP, telecom, or big enterprise. Is it clear? So it's like a open protocol, and that's why it is a cost base. So in OSI model, when we're talking about this protocol works on the layer 3, and it built with the flexibility and carry your IP and IPv6 traffics. That's something is there. So any question talking about ISP, large telecom service providers, like in India also Jio, Airtel, they all are using a ISIS, which is basically like a backbone. You can say like that. Next is basically called as a BGP. BGP is a path vector, okay, which is also called as a border gateway protocol. It is a protocol that runs the internet, okay, and it works with different networks used by the ISP and all that. That something is basically there. So I'm sure you got this visibility. What is MPLS? What is VPN? We will discuss in the next session, where I'm going to discuss deep dive into each and everything. But right now I'm just giving you information. So RIP, when you're talking about routing information protocol, I used old simple hop counts. OSPF is more intelligent. It use a link cost, which is good for enterprise. EIGRP is a Cisco proprietary, fast and efficient. BGP is use route between the countries and ISP. An alternate of that, we had a ISIS. So that something is basically there. So I'm sure you got the visibility about that things. One more important thing, distance vector, update the entire routing information regular basis. But in the link state, we only update the new features we have. One more important thing you need to understand is ISIS works on the layer 3. BGP works on the layer 4. Okay, between the ISP. I repeat again, ISIS inside the company or ISP backbone, but BGP between the ISP, it basically work between the cloud and global network. That something is there. You need to understand that. Then second thing is that, in the case of ISIS, we build the full network map, but in the case of BGP, we don't have a full topology. In the ISIS, we use based on a link bandwidth, but in the BGP, we use other factors. Which one is fast? ISIS, BGP is basically slow. That something is there. So if you're looking for the best route within your city, use ISIS. If you're looking for the best route between the cities, within your city is ISIS, between your cities, between the things, that is basically called as a BGP. So if you take example of telco or enterprise network, okay, for high speed, they use ISIS, but to connect to the internet, cloud, multi-home and all that, they basically use the BGP. And that's how it basically works. So question is how the routing protocols basically works. That's a question. So first step is router first meet each other on a common link. So they establish the session hello message. They exchange either routing tables by distance vector or link state. As I said, distance vector add the hop count to each network and pick the lowest, and link state build the full map. And based on that, we update the routing informations, and then they exchange the data. So this is all from my side in this particular video. Do let me know how do you find this video, and I will try to deep dive into the next video, which talking about on network core securities, VPNs and everything. Thank you so much. Good day. And if you're new to the channel, do subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to make sure you should not miss my future videos on a similar topic. Good day. Bye.